Hello everybody, this is Nancy with Nancy's Foodie Channel, and today I'm going to show you how to make my Vietnamese pork chop. And actually I made these pork chops yesterday, and I used a new app to videotape this, and I did everything in detail, a little more detail than I normally do it, because I wanted to change it up a little bit. And oh my god, I almost died, because in the end, after all that work, I found out it was not saved. Oh lordy. But anyway, thank God I have 3 more pieces of pork chops. So I'm gonna go ahead and recreate this video with the 3 pork chops I have left. So I hope you will like it. Basically, it's Vietnamese pork chop with side rice and side tomatoes, cucumbers, just like the usual Vietnamese pork chops that you get in a restaurant. I have a piece of lime and also a special sauce with it, which is so delightful and tasty. Everyone liked it, so I'm just so proud and happy that it came out so great. I'm happy. But anyway, I hope you will like it though. So if you like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much, and love you guys. Bye! Hi everybody. Okay, so I had taken a picture earlier to show you the ingredients, but now I have prepared everything to make the sauce. Okay, so this is the cut up shallot. So what I'm gonna do, see this much? This is like a lot of shallots because I like shallots. So I'm gonna put this in an empty bowl, the brown sugar. Okay, approximately this much. Okay, this is like two-thirds cup of sugar, brown sugar. And then you just want to kind of mix it up a little bit so the sugar and the onions are all mixed. You want to put in the fish sauce. So this is the amount of fish sauce I have here to put in. Okay, so now you're going to mix the sugar, the onions, not onions, I'm sorry, shallots. Once you do that, you're going to also add in the mirin, the rice wine. And then you're going to mix that up. It smells so good already. And lastly, we're going to go ahead and add the pepper. Okay. The amount of pepper, sugar, all that I will have in the end of the video so that you can see how much I added, but you can adjust as well according to your taste. So I'm just going to mix this up a little bit, or you can whisk if you want, but I just use my fork. And I kind of mix all the pepper, the garlic, I keep saying garlic, but it's actually shallots. And it's like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I am going to pour some of this to set aside, the sauce, and then I'm going to also poke some holes on the pork. This way the marinade can get into the pork. So now you see that I have the sauce here, and I moved some over to a tinier bowl because I will save that later to make the sauce. So right now I'm going to take a pork chop, okay, and I want to put some holes in the pork chop like this, all over the pork chop. This way the marinade can sink into the pork chop. Okay, so all over the pork chop, and also behind it as well. So you want to make sure you get all sides of the pork chop. There you have it. So it looks like that. So we're gonna do that to all 4 pieces. I thought I had 3 pieces in the freezer. I actually have 4. And 1 much thicker piece, and the other 3 is not as thick, but that's okay. And just poking holes, okay, on both sides of the pork chops. All right. So same thing with this one. And what happens is after you put the holes in the pork chop, we're going to go ahead and dip the pork chops in the marinade. Okay, and once we dip the pork chops in the marinade, we are also going to put it back on the other plate. I just switched plates, but this way is easier to maneuver. And we will go ahead and put, and I'll show you how it's done as well. And I'm almost done, guys. Okay, so I poke holes all over the 4 pork chops. So now here's the marinade I'm going to use. So I'm going to take the pork chop, just like this, and I'm gonna dip it in the marinade. Okay, you wanna make sure it's all over the pork chop. See that? Okay, I'm gonna soak that for a little bit. And then once you soak this for a little bit, you can just go ahead and pick it up, okay, and transfer it to the new plate or the other plate, okay? And so you do that for all the pork chops. Oops, this is a big one, okay. So there's plenty of marinade sauce here. Okay. Just make sure it's all over. I didn't add any salt because the fish sauce and everything else is going to be a little salty as well. But you can add some salt later to adjust the taste if you need to. But actually, I didn't need to do that yesterday. It came out perfect. Okay, so to my taste, that is. It's the third piece. Okay. And I just want to wash it almost to make sure it's all soaked, and the holes in the pork will keep in more of the flavor, hopefully, which I did yesterday fine. And I have a thick piece here. This is the thickest piece. So I would like to have this one sit in a little longer just because it's thicker, and so the holes are deep. So we can go ahead and okay, so you see, after you do all this, just remove and put onto the plate. And you have a little sauce left here. Pour it onto the pork chop, why not? So make sure that it has a lot of the ingredients and the taste and all the shallots and everything. Okay, because when you let it marinate, after you let it marinate, you actually need to get all these shallots and pieces off because you're gonna clean a pork chop. So once you do that, you're gonna want to cover it up and let it sit for at least 20 minutes. Yesterday I actually let it sit for like 30. So it's up to you. I just want to make sure the flavor sinks in. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up. All right, and let it sit for about, like they say, about 20 minutes, but because I have a thick piece, I might leave it for half an hour. I had 6 pieces yesterday that I did the same way, and I did it for half an hour because there were like 6 pieces. So these 4 pieces is pretty big. So there you have it. Okay, so while we're waiting for the pork chops to marinate, we can go ahead and start chopping cucumber. This one I started off yesterday. It has some leftovers, so I'm going to use this up first. So I'm just gonna take this piece off because I never like the ends. And it's not, I didn't do a good job understanding that. There we go. All right, so we're gonna slice the cucumbers, thin slices, unless you like them thick, but I like it about this size here. And then you have a plate to put this on for the meantime. So, there we go. Okay, and then we'll continue to put enough cucumbers, and then we'll start working on the tomatoes. Okay, so 2, 3. I usually don't like them this tiny, but let's just go ahead and finish the cucumber. Okay, so I don't want to waste it either, so, and then you have it. So some cucumbers are sliced. So the next thing, you want to have a clean, washed tomato. And we'll go ahead and work slicing that. So we usually cut this part off. Okay. There you have it. And I'm trying to make it as thin as possible. You can also use the smaller tomatoes, but this is the one we have. Use the Italian tomatoes that are tinier. Okay, so now it's about half an hour. The pork, it's already marinated, and so I'm going to start to heat up some cooking oil. And then just going to move this out of the way and turn on the high to heat up the cooking oil. I'm gonna just make sure that the oil is all around the pan so it doesn't stick. You can use a cast iron pan, but my cast iron pan is a little smaller, but I would like to cook all this pork chop at one shot. Only because it's getting late, but I did that yesterday as well and it worked out fine. And I got the brownness that I want from using the same pan yesterday. But otherwise, you can also use a cast iron pan. Okay, so right now I'm going to put in just a little salt because the salt helps, you know, so that it doesn't get too smoky, and also it helps several things. I forget what it was, but it's you don't put the salt on the meat or the food before cooking, because you put salt, the water is going to be coming out of the food. So it's best, I do it when I heat up the cooking oil. So when I heat up the cooking oil, I like to put a little salt. Okay, I think it's heating up pretty good. Okay, so we're going to just move the extra shallots that's all over the pork chop. Just clean it up a bit before we put it into the pan, because we're gonna want to have the pork chop sit in the pan for a little bit, so you don't want these little shallots that will get burned while it's heating up. So I'm gonna try to get the most of it as best as I could, but if there's some on it, that's fine. So this is the thickest piece. I'm gonna put this piece in first. Right now I have on high heat, so I'm going to reduce it in a few minutes, but yeah, it's just I overload with the shallots, which is going to be yummy later. Okay, I think I most of it off. And there we go, I'm going to put my second piece in. So 2 pieces, I'm going to try to put the other 2 in there. My cast iron probably fits about 1 to 2 pieces of these pork chops. That's why I'm using this bigger pan. I actually have another bigger pan, but this one non-stick, I like this one for cooking. Push it a little bit so that way. There's a lot of shallots, but because I put holes in the pork chop, so now it's going to have a lot of flavor. It smells good. Yeah, it's all for it. Okay, and I try not to move it around. I want to lower the temperature. And I try not to move it around too much so that way it cooks evenly. Okay, after a while you want to just double check to see if the other side is pretty much cooked and it's Yeah, so we're going to turn it, because we can always turn it back the other way. But for now, I'm going to flip them over. So. Alright, so we're going to let the other side cook for a while. This is a thicker piece, so we're going to take a little longer on this one later. But for now, we'll let it continue to cook. Here's a close-up of the other side that we're marinating, the second side of it. So it's coming out pretty good so far. So since the pork is about ready, we're going to go ahead and heat up the sauce. Hi, so we're back, and that's how you make my Vietnamese pork chops. So I hope you like it, and we're going to go for a taste test. So this is how my meal will look like. The boys had their meal. This is mine, and I'm going to go ahead and try it. So first, what we're going to do is squeeze some of the lime. Yes, beautiful. Squeeze some of the lime. And okay, I think this sauce kind of thickened up while I was preparing other things because I turned off the heat. So but anyway, it tastes just as good. All right, so we're going to cut a piece of this pork. We're going to dip in this sauce. Oh my God, look at that. Yummy. Here we go, taste test. Very good. I had this 2 nights in a row. Loved it. So I think you guys will enjoy it too. With some white rice, with the tomatoes, the cucumber. So it's refreshing at the same time. So it's not too oily or anything like that. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Bye.